Hello and welcome back to Curio Yarns podcast. My name's Ellie and I'm coming to you from Alphington in Exeter, which is in the southwest of England. Today is Thursday the 13th of February, so the day before Valentine's Day. This is kind of a catch-up episode really because it's been a month since I've recorded. In the last month I've been really poorly, completely knocked off my feet. First I had a cold, which I thought was bad enough to be flu, and then I started to get a bit better, and then I got a kidney infection, and then I did actually get flu. So I'm still not right. I'm still really tired, and I feel completely done in, but I'm here, and I thought it was about time that I popped on and said hello, I'm still alive. Yeah, crazy times. But if I keep doing that, when I was 15, all my wisdom teeth came through at once, but only one of them only half came through, and it decided this morning to start trying to push through. So it's been sort of over 20 years later, so it's all. Anyway, moving on. I have tea and I have water because I've had to start drinking water. I could never stomach drinking just plain water before. It's bottled water, but I need to keep my fluids up. If I start coughing, I'm really sorry. I've been trying so hard not to. Abby bought me this cup a couple of days ago from Flying Tiger. It's one of my favourite shops for things like this, little cups. And I'm just drinking organic tea. Neve and I have been spending the last week and a half drinking our bird and blend tea that we got. We got the Vicky's sponge cake and red velvet. Delicious. Anyway, so in today's show it's all knitting. There's a bit of yarn talk, as in Curio yarns, but there is no spinning, there is no crochet, there is no sewing. I have only been able to knit because I've been able to do it in bed, and even then for about a week and a half I didn't knit a stitch. So I have some finished objects, I have some works in progress, and I have my future knits for this year planned out. And a cast on that I plan to do as soon as I finish recording. So, I have finished my Mount Pleasant by Pip and Pin. So I'm going to stand up and show you. See? Isn't it lovely? So, last time I recorded I showed you, I pulled this out because I'd forgotten that I was knitting it. I had to do the neckband and the shoulders, the sleeve cuff bits, and join the shoulders. Well, it's done. I absolutely love it. The colourway, if I come closer, is my Dark Adrenaline, and this is on merino nylon base. And I used 150 grams, so about 600 metres, minus this little bit. Absolutely love it. It has been washed and blocked, and the ends have been woven in, and it fits like a dream, and it's so comfy. So it is Pip and Pin, Mount Pleasant. So I didn't do mine cropped as it shows in the photo. I did include extra ease I have a 32-inch bust on a good day. So I made the medium, which is for 38-inch bust. So there is a lot of ease in this, but it fits beautifully and doesn't feel tight or anything, and I absolutely love it. So apart from adding 6 or 7 inches to the length, maybe a bit longer, I stuck to the pattern completely. I did find that the decreases for the fronts and the backs didn't quite add up for my size, but that's probably just me doing things wrong. Now I wrote here I actually used 148 grams, so that's the 2 grams. So yes, number 1. Now I have another FO here, and that is the Felix pullover by Amy Christophers, and she's savoury knitting. Now I used Cascade Hollywood in the black, so colour number 10. Now this is about 20 grams, maybe 25 grams. So I only used 270 grams for the whole jumper. Now for my size that I made, I did the 39-inch, which is the smallest, I think. Did I do the small size? Yes, the smallest size was 39 inches. And it said that I would need 650 yards, which is 600 metres. Well, I used 513 metres. I was just calculating that. So, not even 3 balls of, this yarn. So, what I will do is I will pause here and have a little wardrobe change and come back to you in a minute. I'm back. So, Mount Pleasant is now over there, and the Felix pullover is now on me. So, I'm going to stand up and show you. So I did it exactly as the pattern called for. So there's my jeans button, and yeah, I did pattern as written. Now I have very slim arms, but it still fits beautifully. You can see the lace detailing here on both sides. Now I'm actually wearing a black vest underneath. I did not think this through. But yeah, so there's the simple lace detailing, and I like the neck. It doesn't choke me. I'm not a fan of crew necks, but yeah, this one's just about right. Maybe a little bit looser would be preferable, but hey ho. So yes, this is my Felix pullover, and it's all shiny and sparkly and cozy, and oh, I don't want to take it off. Now this one as well has been washed and blocked and ends woven in because I'm a good girl. I hate weaving in ends. Can't stand it. I don't mind on socks because it's just top and bottom, but I like it anyway. It's very sparkly, very cosy, and I'm going to get a lot of wear out of it. So last time you saw this, I had separated for the sleeves and my marker was here. So I have knit most of this the week after I recorded last time, and then ironically I went back and finished the Mount Pleasant. But hey ho. So what else have I been knitting? I have been working a lot on designs, which are in the basket over here below my My Little Pony cushion. There's a couple of jumpers and more gloves and socks. But I've not, literally, I've worked on them for about 10 hours since I've last recorded because I've not had the brain space to have to write the patterns. I've knit them. One I'm still working on. But just because, you know, you can knit something doesn't mean that you can translate what you've knitted into a understandable pattern, if that makes sense. So it's been slow going on that front. But I decided to do my Make 9 for 2020, and I ended up choosing 11 patterns. Now Abby helped me. We'd spent about an hour matching up yarns to patterns. So I will show you what I was already working on, and then I will show you what I have cast on, and then I'll show you what I will be casting on for the rest of the year, because I've got it all planned, needles, everything with everything. So the first project, so I have lots of bags everywhere. The first project that I was working on last time I recorded is living in here, and that is the Callan Mai by Kristen Lehrer, who is Full and Vine. This beauty. And last time I showed you I had done 2 beaded rounds. So I've not done a lot more. I'm about to do the next beaded round. So last time I was here where my clamshell is, my little pearl. So I was here last time, so I've done this much. I've got my batty stitch marker, and it's so pretty. Oh, I love it so much. I'm looking forward to wearing this. So the yarns I'm using are both Chopal. So this is their mohair lace in the Admiral colourway, and this is Zowable. So this is a singles. I think it's the blackberry colourway. And then I'm using a 0.75mm Addy, I think it's Addy crochet hook. And the beads that I'm using are these little pinkish ones. So yes. And I'm knitting mine on higher sharps in 4mm. And I'm sorry, I have to keep clearing my throat. So yeah, that is coming along slowly but surely. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So much so that while I've been away, although I've not knit on this much, I've designed 3 cowls myself to keep it going, as it were. So just pop that away. It's a very well written pattern and beautifully laid out, so I highly recommend it. Okay, so next, now I'd hoped to get this one finished. My aim was to get 3 jumpers finished for today's podcast episode. I didn't quite make it. So this is Living in Here, the Petite Knits No Frills jumper, no frill sweater. I am so close to being done. I have literally got 30 rounds on the sleeve, and then it's done. So first of all, I will show you the yarn I'm using. So I'm using Berger de France Angel in the Pave colourway. That's my mohair. And then the main yarn, the other one is my Curio yarn's Pretty Gritty. It's black and pink and grey, mostly grey, with a couple of speckles of blue just where this dye broke. And I have literally just had to start on this 3rd ball, so I'm probably only going to use a maximum of 5 grams. So here it is in all its glory. See, I'm so close to being finished. So close. So I've got that much left to do. I was determined to get this finished this morning before I recorded and record later, and I was like, no, it's actually sunny, so I'm going to record now between all the rain and the sleet and everything else. So I will get this finished today, and then weave in all the ends, unblock it, and get it ready for next week. So yes, I've been able to knit on this because it's just been basic decreases and stockinette. And I absolutely love it. Now again, with this one I have knit it exactly as the pattern. You know, I wasn't going to faff around with modifications or anything else. I want it done because this has been on the needles now 10 months, I want to say, approximately. So yes. That's that. So, what have I done there? The next 3 projects I'm going to show you are all new cast-ons that I've cast on this month. So the first one is living in this bag. It's my Erin Lane bag. Now this is my first project bag that I hadn't made, and I won this when Jen, who is, it's not the Just One More Row podcast, it was, oh gosh, Commuter Knitter podcast, back, I think, 6-7 years ago. But anyway, I am knitting the Ripple Bralette, and I'm doing the small, not the extra small, purely because, like I said, my bust is almost 32, so the smallest is 32 to 34, and I didn't want it to be too tight, so I'm using Nebula, and it is by Marigold Jen. Now this is some deep stash, so it's called Green Nebula, and it's sock weight yarn, merino nylon stellina, 438 yards, or approximately 400 metres per skein. And I am actually very nearly done. So I have finished the back. That's done. Now I did extend this. I made it about 3 inches longer than the pattern called for, and I am almost done with the first boob bit, I suppose. So I've got my strap bits on a holder back here. Those will be where the straps join. So I've nearly finished that one, and then I need to move on to the other one, and then it's just the straps. So it's maybe a couple of hours knitting left in this. It's very fun. It is mostly just ribbing. Now I did do the old Norwegian cast on, as the pattern says. Now that in itself was problematic because I didn't realise how much yardage I would need to do the cast on. So I started it and then I ran out about that far from finishing the cast on. So I then decided to do the inside and the outside of the ball. So I've actually got 3 tails to, or 4 to weave in at the very beginning, but hey ho. So it's lots of different ribs, and then the boobs area. It's fun, don't get me wrong, it's definitely a fun pattern. I just feel it's more complicated than it needs to be for such a simple pattern. Will I make another one? I doubt it. Now, that's nothing against her or the pattern or anything else, but I was hesitant to cast one on anyway, just because it's so cropped. But then Abby reminded me that, you know, I spend a lot of time gardening, and we spend a lot of time, you know, going to the beach and things in the summer. So this is actually a decent little cover-up Now I have a lot of stretch marks from having, when I had my first child, because I was so tiny and then I went so huge. I'm an art piece on my tummy, should we say. Which is fine, I don't mind. I love my stretch marks because they show, you know, my body carried children. But I'm not a fan of showing them off too much. So this will be a when I don't give two hoots type day. But yeah, so it's fun. It's relatively quick. Effectively, I'm knitting a hat for my boobs. That's what it feels like, just because it's the same sort of size cast on as the sockhead hat. In fact, it uses less yarn than a sockhead hat and most other hats. So yeah, that's boob one. I'm holding it upside down just so you can see. But yeah, it's fun, it's pretty. I'm trying to wear more bright greens. Someone was trying to phone me. No call ready, no answer. Anyway, I'm trying to wear more green because I really like it and I have hazel eyes. So yeah, and I absolutely love this neon pop in it. So yes, so I'll put that away. So that was very much, I wanted to jump on the bandwagon and join in and have one too. So I'm sure that will get done relatively quickly. Don't know why. Oh, that's in the wrong bag. I'll pop that over there. I had a spare DPN. Yeah, so when I've knit it, I can say I've done it and tick it off my list. So yes, it's very simple telly knitting. So that is my first new cast on for this month. Well, I cast it on the final week of January. And then I cast on, what did I cast on next? This one. So, next project that I cast on is the Witching Hour Swan Show by Dear Ingenue, or Ingenue, which is this beauty. Now, it's absolutely stunning. I'm very aware that I like the freedom to use my arms, and the yoke on this finishes at the elbows. So I will constantly be trying to lift my arm up without showing off my tummy. But I decided to invert the colours. So my main colour and the contrast colour are the other way around saturation wise. So I started doing it from the chart, got completely confused, so I coloured it in the way that I'm knitting. So I had to Tipp-Ex out all the dark ones and make them light ones and then make them pink and blah blah. But anyway, I'm using Sublime Lustrous Extra Fine Merino DK, which is this pretty pink. So this is 67% extra fine merino wool and 33% nylon. Now it's one of these tubular yarns where it's a nylon casing with the merino in the middle. And I'm also using Adrofil Careza, or Angora Careza, in colour 1, which is black. And I will show you where I'm up to. So, I'm absolutely loving it. So this is where I'm at so far. Now I am at the beginning of the round, but I have a very stiff cable on these ones. So I just do a bit of jiggling around a minute so you can actually see. There we go. So in everyone else's that I've seen, the background here is the light colour and then the skull is in the dark colour, but I wanted mine the other way around. So I am at the point where I'm going into the beak, so I've finished the eyes and I'm going down into the beak. Now the colour work, these are my floats, so they're very tidy. Now on a lot of them I made sure that it was short floats so that I wouldn't catch them on any of my jewellery or anything or whatever. There are only a couple of long floats. Actually, I say a couple. There's one long float and I've just dropped a yarn. Drop stitches. There we go. I'm using stitch markers for every repeat because I didn't want to get lost. And then I've got my main pink jade and quartz stitch marker at the beginning. I'm using some of my oldest needles. So these are Knit Pro Symphony Rosewood needles. And you can see that the tips have worn. But they're very good needles and I love using them, and they're just the right amount of grip for this. This takes quite a while because you have to concentrate, but I'm very much enjoying it, and it's so soft and squishy and fluffy. So once I've done the rest of the yoke, the rest of the jumper will be pink. Which is lovely. You know, I don't really wear much pink, but I've had this yarn for so long and I knew it was for a jumper. I bought enough for a jumper. I'm going to have some left. But yeah, so that, see, look, that is the end of the first ball of pink. I'm on the second ball of black, but I don't need a lot. So pop them back. So that is cast on number 2. So this, the Witching Hour Swan Show and the River Bralette were on my Make 9 for 2020. Now this next one wasn't until it came up on my feed and I just went, I have to cast this on. So I have cast on the Sorrel. I think it's by Wooden Pine or Woolen Pine. Let me get the pattern out. It is the Sorrel by, yes, Woolen Pine. So you will have seen this all over the internet, and if you haven't, you need to find it and look at it and go, oh my goodness, I need to make this now. Now again, it is a fingering weight yarn held together with mohair lace weight. But I'm using, now I want to do the gradient version, but I didn't want to do it as specified in the pattern. I wanted to have a gradient yoke and then just a main colour body. So I am using some silver lace weight because I didn't want to use mohair again because I'm currently already making a mohair jumper. So I'm using this beautiful grey lace weight, and then, oh, dropped it. Held together with that, I have been using lots of mini skeins. So I've got this on needle protectors. This is how far I am. Now I know it doesn't look like a lot, but I am, let's see on the picture, sort of here. I've nearly finished the yoke. So my first 2 colours are the silver with some Wool and Vine yarn that I had remnant. Let's see if I've still got the ball in here. Yes. So there's this one, which is either Moondrop or Poe. And then the second colour I used was Miss Babs. So it's the second one held with it in here. Now it goes a lot darker, but if you look in here, it's got this beautiful sort of mauvey grey colour, which is actually the same as this one. So there's that one. And then I moved into this beautiful purple, which again is Miss Babs. And I did transition them over, I think, 12 rows. So I've just finished with the purple. I think I've got one more round to transition in the purple, and then I'm using the black yarn that I ripped out of my metal heart jumper. So I'm now using black with the silver. If I just pick up the silver because I dropped it on the floor. So there we go. So you can see it on the needles there. It's all sort of mild. And then once I run out of that silvery grey, I should be transitioning from that one into that one with the black. So it'll have some gradient at the top and then a semi-gradient at the bottom between the two greys. I was going to be using these two as well, but I didn't like how it looked. I mean, it's very pretty, don't get me wrong, and I could well have, you know, carried on, but then I knew I wanted to be going to black, and it would have been too much of a high contrast going like that, or rather it would have been that way. So I decided not to use these two, and just went with what I used instead. So the silvery lace is from APY, which is Artist Palette Yarns. Now I've spun a lot of their fibre in the past, and it's 55% wool, 45% silk. And then the darker steel colour is charcoal, and it's actually slightly thicker lace weight, but it's charcoal, and it's the plush lace, which is 80% merino, 20% silk, and it's by Dublin Dye. So I'm using stash yarns and my hand-dyed yarns, and I'm having an absolute blast. I am doing this pattern here. It's very complicated the first time you do it, and then when you're doing it the second and, you know, consecutive times, it's almost common sense. Like, of course you do that. Of course, why didn't I think of this, you know? And it's absolutely wonderful. I absolutely love it, and I cannot wait to get this, you know, bigger. And it's so squishy and cozy, and oh, I can't wait. The only thing I'm worried about is the neck. I wish I'd used a stretchier cast on, because it's quite small, and I don't like, you know, this is nice and loose. I don't like tight necks. I don't like crew necks. It might be that I end up doing some surgery and folding it in so it just looks like the top of the yoke, but we'll see. So let me put all these away. I'm actually out of breath. I need to have a sip of tea. So that is all my new cast-ons that I have cast on in the last couple of weeks. I would say for details go and look on my Ravelry page, but I haven't updated the pattern tubes yet. They're in there. I've put them as started projects, but there's no detailed information yet. So I'm just going to swap my bags around and then I'll come back. Okay, so the next jumper that I cast on as soon as I finished my grey one, my, what's it called? I was just talking to you about it. Help me out here. Petite Knits No Frill Sweater will be the Red Moon Sweater by Born and Raised. Now I'm making the long sleeve version, and I'm using two of my Wonky Cauldron colourways. Sort of, it's not showing up as rich as I'd like it to, but it's basically purples and reds. And then I am using, so that's for the main body, and then for the moons I'm using this beauty. It's not showing up very well at all. That's better, so let's try that back here. That one. with this one. So this one is by Francophile Knits, or Francophile Knits, and it's in the Senacu colourway on the chaussette base, which is superwash merino nylon. So here you go. And I've got the needles ready, so that will be cast on later. So I'm doing the size nearest to my body size. I can't remember which size I'm doing, and I don't want to keep taking it in and out of the sleeve. But this has been on my radar for a while, and it's also part of the cal for this year. I just wrote it down so that I could remember myself what the hashtag was. So it's the Curio Witch Knits cal, which is here. So that is the cal that I'm running for the whole of the year. I've just not been on to sort of remind you. So basically, if you can make it witchy, or astrology, or astronomy, or spell type thing, please come and join the cal. There are threads on Ravelry already, and there is a bundle as well of patterns linked in the group and the thread. So that is the first one. I'm very out of breath. I'm not used to talking so much. Okay, so the next one, I'm not showing them in any particular order now. That's the one that's going on next when I finish the grey one. So I have chosen, well, the Solitaire, which is actually from a magazine, the Knitter issue 121, so it's quite an old one. So I'm knitting this, and it uses DK weight yarn, but the measurements feel they'll be a bit big. So what I'm doing is I'm using DK held with fingering. Now it's knit flat, so I'm using my old needles, and I'm using Wool and Vine yarns on her Volca base in the Rye Sand colourway, along with Rico Design Nature in DK, so those together. Now I've already caked this one up, because I think I had 3 skeins of this one, but I'm only needing 2, so it'll be absolutely stunning. So there we are. So that is another one, the Solitaire, and it's by Amanda Crawford. Now all of these are queued on my Ravelry, so if you are curious, go and have a look. So that's another one. And then the Garden Gate pullover. Is it the Garden Gate pullover? I need to pull the yarns out of the packet. Yes, the Garden Gate pullover. Come on, out you come. By Jen Steingass. And this has been on my radar for quite a while, ever since it came out, and I've loved it so much. So I'm using these colours. So the charcoal is the main colour, and then the mauve is the contrast colour, light reflecting. So the mauve is West Yorkshire Spinners 4-ply in colour 6, 050. There we go. And then I'm using Shashenmeyer Regia Premium Merino Yak, which is 58% wool, 28% polyamide, 14% yak, so it'll be lovely and cosy. And the colour is 07512. So I've got 3 of those for the jumper, and then this one. So that is jumper number 2. And then I am going to cast on, finally, the Sapilla. Now this has been in my queue for a very long time. Now I'm going to be doing the long sleeve version, and I'm using BC Garn Silk Bloom Fino, which is 45% mulberry silk and 55% super soft merino wool. So I'm using that, and Titus by Bahram U, which is 70% British wool, 30% UK alpaca. So the main colour is the grey and the contrast colour is the purple. So I need to pop that back away. It took a long time to figure all these out. Now I know a lot of them are grey and purple and grey and purple and grey and purple, but things like the red moon sweater are purple and purple. That's the wrong side. Next is the Arachne jumper by Andy Sutherland. It's got these cobwebs at the top here. So this one, predictably, black and silver sparkly. So it's got stellina in there. So the black is Merino 5 and it's Crystal Palace yarns. So this is a sport weight. And then because it's only a little bit of detailing for the silver, so I figured, you know what, it's just a little tiny bit. So I'm just going to either hold this double or hold it single. I'm not sure yet. But that is that one. The Arachne. See, most of them have project bags, just some of them didn't. Next up, only my Loop London bag, because it's a lot of chunky yarn. I'm knitting the Untangled Shawl by Andrea Mowry, who's Andrea Renee Knits. Now I'm knitting this one as a challenge because I don't know how to do brioche. And there's brioche in this, so it's a challenge. So I'm using, or will be using, Debbie Bliss Reaver and Rowing Creative Focus Worsted. Now I should be holding this one doubled and this one single. So that's going to be very pretty. So I need 332 metres of both colours in Aran weight. So now this one, it says it's worsted, but it's only a singles, so if I hold it double, it'll act more like an Aran weight. That's that one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus 3 new ones I cast on, so that's 9. So, and I've still got 3 more, so 12. So next up is the Zweig. Everyone and their mother's heard about the Zweig jumper. So this is by Caitlin Hunter. I love the patterns. And I'm using Ice Yarns. Now this is their darkest purple. It looks very navy blue, but it's meant to be purple. And it's 25% alpaca, 50% merino wool, and 25% acrylic. Now, if there wasn't any acrylic in this, I'm not sure I'd knit a jumper out of it because alpaca stretches a lot. So I'm hoping that the wool and the merino, the wool and the acrylic will give it some stability. So I'm using this one along with my Libiana May singles in the Fauna colourway, which we got in London, which Abby gave me for Christmas. So that is going to look absolutely beautiful. And I have all the needles and things ready. It's so tempting to cast this one on next. But it'll be the Red Moon sweater. Put that back in there. And then I have 2 left to show you. So the next one is the Underwing Mitts. Now I bought this pattern ages ago, but I never got around to knitting it. So I'm using, surprise surprise, black, So this is very black black. And I'm just using some remnants, some Vine remnants. I think this is the Poe. Now I used this one in my big shawl. Andrew Mary. Find your fade type shawl. So these will be the undoing mitts. And then I will probably use, thinking about it, one of these two, do a duplicate stick to the orange. But I'm not sure yet. Because that bit comes last, so we shall see. Now that's the only project that I have set up that I don't have needles with yet. I have them behind the camera. I just haven't put them in the bag yet. I'm actually doing one of the first project bags I made, penguins. It's really cute. And then my final project that I've decided that I want to do this year is, like I said, no particular order, the Ishell pullover. Now I have been wanting to make this since I pre-ordered the magazine. This is Pom Pom Quarterly, and it's the autumn 2018. And now I will be using some Jinx yarns, and I got this in her final shop update, and the Never Ender colourway. So this is a sparkly purple, tonal purple, and I'll be using it with my Moondrop. So that will look absolutely stunning, I think. So that is my list for this year. Now obviously I probably won't get all of it knit this year. Fingers crossed very muchly that I do, because I desperately need jumpers. I got rid of a lot of clothes when I moved here, and over the last couple of years I have shrunk my wardrobe down to at least a third. So I need new clothes, and my hope is that in a couple of years' time, maybe 3 or 4 years' time, I don't have any shop bought jumpers unless they were gifts from Abby. Abby loves buying me clothes, which, fantastic, you know. She's got very good taste in jumpers. But I want to be wearing my own, my own handmade clothes, desperately so. The only thing I won't be making myself is underwear and jeans. I'm quite happy to buy jeans, as long as they fit. And my cleavage is such that I have yet to find a sewing pattern that goes down small enough. No, I'm not going to do that. So that's fine for me. I don't mind, because I'm the sort of person that will keep bras for sort of 15, 20 years. I have jeans older than all my children, and I have kids in college. But hey. So that's 12 projects that I want to get made this year. 3 I've already cast on. I've finished 2 jumpers so far this year. The grey one will be finished. So hopefully by the end of the year I'll have 50 new items. 2 of which are shawls, but that's fine. I did want to include a hat pattern that I bought recently. But I think I showed you that on the podcast a few weeks ago. But I figure as having to split my time equally between knitting for myself like this and my designs, there isn't enough hours in the year to knit everything I want. So these are the ones that are the sort of highlight pieces for me that I really want to get into my wardrobe, so I can start wearing them. Obviously I also want to be knitting shawls and things like that, but there will be ones that I'm designing, not other people's shawls. I have maybe 20 shawls at least written by Boo Knits, that I still have to knit my way through. They've got their own folder. And there are toys and things that I want to crochet and things like that. So that'll be sort of dotted in between and everything else. So that is about it for today for knitting and future knits. Just like to say thank you to everyone who signed up for the Witcher Yarn Clubs. Oh, you blew my mind. Thank you very much. I'm so grateful. The first instalment ships out tomorrow on Valentine's Day. Fear not if you missed out. I'm sorry, it was my bad. I didn't really advertise it very much just because I've been so poorly. But the 3 months club will be renewing. It's either the end of March or the beginning of April. So if you missed out on this set, you can join next time for skeins 4, 5 and 6. And then the 6-month club is also closed now. So if you missed out on that, apologies. I will be doing another yarn club later in the year, but not yet. I also have listings up for the Yarny Advent calendars. So you have a choice between merino nylon or merino and lurex with nylon. So you get 24 mini skeins and 1 main skein, and then there'll be little bits of goodies and things in there. So a few people have signed up for that already, but there are still quite a few spaces because it's only just February. So if you don't want to miss out, go on over to the Etsy shop and sign up for those. There won't be a shop update this week, purely because I was dyeing up all the club yarns, and that really took it out of me. Like I said at the beginning, I'm still recovering. But there will be a normal shop update next Friday. I will record again next Thursday on the 20th. So I hope you've all had a good week. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Please like and subscribe down below and help, boost the channel, and leave a comment, chat to me about, everything I've been showing you today. Go and join the Ravelry group and join in the Cal. If you fancy it, sign up for the newsletter. The link for that is in my Instagram profile. Yeah, come say hello, etc. So that is it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate your time, and I will see you all again next week.